Okay, welcome to my course. This is the first session of our Introduction to Cultural Studies this semester. The first topic is culture transformation. Okay, and so please be full of attention during my course. So, in some point, maybe I will give you some instructions or weekly assignments, so you have to fully engage in my course. Okay, the topic is cultural transformation. It talks about how civilization changes over time. Okay. There are four stages of civilization. Okay, the first one is the primitive tribal or pastoral civilization, and the second one is the agricultural civilization, and next the industrial civilization, and the last one is the knowledge civilization. But the stages which I am trying to explain, this is not the end of the human civilization, because people keep changing in the meantime. So the change of the civilization caused the cultural transformation and the loss of the characteristic of the culture itself. And every civilization change as a response to the new mode of production. We change the old economic patterns and fundamentally change the economy and social structure of society and the relationship of production. So, what can we understand from this statement is some ideas, some characteristic, or some patterns may be changed over time. Yeah. Some may be reduced, or you lost some characteristic and replaced by the new one. But it is very normal to see how people keep modifying the ideas of running their lives. Yeah. So culture is the way human to perceive and try to create life that is better from before, but with different ways or different approach or different access. And the change is to respond the new mode of production. It means it deals with energy, it deals with technology, it deals with developing ideas and uh, you know change in the way you uh, want to be more efficient or effective or simpler or even cheaper or more sophisticated. So production, the way of people produce things, um, will influence the way people will think. Yeah. So this is the entrance points why culture is changing over time, and the old pattern will be changed, will be replaced by the newer pattern due to, yeah, mostly about economy and social structure within society, and transition distance between uh, era in the stage of civilization. The primitive to agriculture, it took about 3,000 years to change from the primitive to agriculture. And for the next stage, from agriculture to industrial civilization, it took about 300 years. But this is recently the era of transition is getting shorter. Like what we can feel and see from industrial to knowledge civilization, it took only 30 years. The result of shortening the transition or shortening the era from face to face is the loss of authenticity of the political, economic, and social theories. So that humans find it difficult to regulate change and predict the future. So the changing of the politics, economy, social theories within the civilization. So it creates a new, let's say, new way of seeing everything. So, and it the old way of seeing politics, economy, and social become neglected, and then people embrace the new way of seeing everything around them. Okay. And in the last 30 years of 21st century, let's see what happened. Yeah, unstable cultural, social, economic, and political system, which means that there is no most sophisticated system of culture, social, and economic, and politics. Everything can change any time, or very short, not too long. People change their ideas about culture, about how they express the culture, or social, and everything. Yeah. And changes in communication system with the rise of electronic devices, and also, later change of way of working. We use network. Yeah, we use network. Now we have online network. We have electronic to support all of things. And competition means win and lose. Yeah. So you you can be the winner, or you are the loser. And technology accommodates all areas of production, management, scientific research, education, and services. So technology in last 30 years has taken a big portion to influence every things that managed by people or civilization. Change happens in all directions, at all levels, and at the same time affects everyone and their relationships. You know, you can see like what we had encountered last 2 years when we had to uh, encounter with a virus, the pandemic across the world, coronavirus 19. When we try to recall our memory back, when we set back to the situation, we can see how people become seldomly connect or physically connected to each other. They can meet online. They they went to school online. They work from home and everything. So less people to have physical contact with others. And then in that time, we have like a great jump or loop from direct and physical interaction to online and non-physical interaction. It changed a lot of things in the way we interact, the way we engage with other people, the way we value our relationship. Let's see to the case of Europe. Yeah, success of European. This is we have to study this and to understand how European could have embraced better, or even or developed or advanced way of their cultural life. Yeah. First, they celebrate openness, yeah, like modern culture ideas. They are open-minded people, so they don't neglect or refuse any ideas of changing. So any kind of idea are celebrated as part of the way they uh, the way they they put their effort to create a better life. So they have open-minded in their community and their people. Yeah. And economic prevalence and social freedom is the result of being open-minded. Yeah. And it creates better government system in which people try to celebrate and respect about right. People have the same rights, and they try to use that ideas of ideal civilization by using the ideas of civil rights and everything. So they create better government system to make sure that the interaction among people are secured and managed well by the authority, in which the authority was totally supported by the people, and people can choose anyone to be in the system, or they can choose, or they can decide themselves to be part of the system, the government system, as long as the system has the capacity, reputation to lead and manage the the society, which high access for people to see their accountability and their true effort to provide better system that regulate people's life. And the government system used to be feudalistic, in which only people from particular blood bloodline can take the position as the system or regulation. But in that era, only agriculture that fit with that feudalistic era, in which people from in which the authority uh, owned and possessed most, most bases, most capitals that they used to manipulate or to control other people or public. Yeah, because they are more wealthy with very large land, so they can manage the community to be under their regulation. And then the other, in the next round of European civilization, when they decided to use ideas of individual freedom, and people can have their own freedom, no one should be manipulated or powered by other parties. So everyone can be as wealthy as they can. It depends on how much they invest or they put their effort to. So in freedom, it encourage commercial, financial, handicraft, and every production to be developed, yeah, very well, and it drove industrial revolution. Some big nation in Europe have to face this phase. For example, the Russian empire, they have to take this revolution, industrial revolution, and some other places like England and France and many other big nations in Europe, they have to encounter with industrial revolution with that changed so many things, including the system of government. Um, and the next we can compare to, what about China in the past, not China today. Yeah, in the past, China was a very closed nation, in which they tried to close their perimeter, social interaction with other countries or other nations. They said they just want to be their own, they manage their own potential, and They try to protect their citizen not to engage with other countries. That was the earlier China, not the today's China. The earlier China, they were very close, yeah, very close as a nation, and they were controlled by a very strict government. Yeah. Even though there's still strict government today, but they have changed the way they do economy and politics as part of international community. And there was no freedom. I'm not sure whether now they have celebrated freedom like European or American, but let's we can see that they are changing, but still they have to put very strong perimeter to protect their citizen from global ideas. So because they want to be strong by their own, and they want to be the ruler of the global community. And they, at the beginning, they prevent the change. Yeah, they refuse to change, and they maintain the stability. They try to make everything being in stability, so they won't have any problem, yeah, among them. So they try to secure the condition, yeah, for to make sure that the nation is running well and no one will give protest or change or try to confront with the government. And that that's why there was no industrial revolution in China. Okay. And next, we talk about the nature of culture. Culture is very nature tends to resist change. Yeah, it means that culture is very nature. Yeah. The nature of culture actually in our community, they try to resist change, but change is something that is not resisted. You cannot resist change, but nature of culture tends to create what we can see as a tendency to resist change. Yeah. But over the time, and they should encounter with the pressure of technology and everything, so they will change by themselves due to so many things, you know, like technology and also the way people interact, and the essence of culture. Let's see, in tribal age we can read a lot about invasion, loot and killing, fought to life and life to fight. That was the common sense in that era, yeah? The common sense of the era. And agriculture phase, we can see from this characteristic like food, feast, gatherings, stories, yeah, a lot of literature, myths and rumors. In this era, we can understand it by this statement, yeah, eat to life and life to eat. Yeah. In the next phase, industrial phase, people grow unconsciously, devoting much of their life to work. So in this era, people believe about work to life, life to work. And in the knowledge phase, unconsciously, yeah, devoting much of his life to knowledge and learning. So learn to life, life to learn. These all the easiest way to understand how people mostly think in each era. And cultural development over time. Okay. First, every stage of development represents a civilization in its own right that comes after the society in question passes through a difficult transition that creates extraordinary situation characterized by confusion, chaos and blurred vision and a loss of direction. So in each stage of development, uh, people tend to begin it with question over difficult transition or over difficult times for most people. In that difficult situation or transition, confusion is something often occur. We don't know which one to believe among the politicians, for example, because they state, for example, they state different statement about one thing, and you don't know how to decide. That is confusion, and chaos means the authority is no longer respected by the most people. And bird vision means we cannot see far from the meantime, yeah, the current time. What we can see is the closest one. It's so hard to see the vision of our future, and mostly it drives us to a lost direction. Yeah. And second, at the beginning of the transitional period, okay, so after the chaos, after everything, not only the former history from the former civilization, the history ends, but it is also loses its logic and wisdom. When you step forward and become part of the new or the current stage of civilization, and then you don't try, but you do forget about all logic and wisdom from the past, yeah, from the previous stage, forcing the new civilization to write its own history, discover its logic and path, and learn about its wisdom. So some people like scholars and maybe other people who celebrate culture, they try to write the history, identify the logic and path, learn about its wisdom, and share as part of the effort to remember their history. And third, each transitional period viewed from a long distance represents a historical discontinuity where history stops a little before it moves again, but with a new spirit and logic. So when you are in a transition uh, or getting farther from the last stage, you will experience the discontinuity of history. The history stops a little before, uh, but with new spirit, where logic, you try to develop the new one. Therefore, each civilization history and its logic end with the beginning of the next transitional period. And fourth, each civilization produces its structurally different society, its qualitatively different culture, and its organizationally unique mode of production, making the break between the former and subsequent civilization almost complete. So after the transitional process has been ended, and then you you almost can see what we are now and what we were before, or what people be before us. Yeah. We can see the like the you know the gap between. We can almost see the gap between the 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 old uh, era, the transition era, with our current era. Yeah. And then fifth, as the contours of the new civilization take take shape, take shape, the society, culture, and economy of the former civilization become dependent on the society, culture, and economy of the next civilization, which makes dependency an integral part of historical process. So it depends on the new community or the new stage community. They will modify, or they will let it go, or they will develop, or what. It highly depends on their decision about the old economy ideas or other ideas about culture and society. And the sixth, because of dependency of the former civilization on the new one, the cultures, societies, and civilization that are overtaken, lose their ability to challenge the subsequent civilization supremacy. Uh, so So, in the meantime, civilizational development makes communication between cultures produced by different civilizations difficult, allowing miscommunication and misunderstanding to happen frequently. So, this is why we often see how the newer generation or um, the newer culture people will will underestimate, even neglect their old culture from their ancient or their grandparents or their elders, yeah, because they think that era has been over and we have entered the new era. So everything should be changed, everything should be new, the ideas should be modified, and no longer old ideas and thoughts about how to manage life, technology, and everything. So you, as a new generation, you will think abandoning the old ideas, culture, and pattern of society is something acceptable because we will enter the new era, the new stage of civilization that we are uh, in it. Yeah. So I think that those things that very important for you to see and understand the ideas of cultural transformation. Okay, as your project this week, try to write a very simple paragraph about my course today. Yeah, try to take one important point of view or important segment of my course today. You can take one, you can explain it, you can add your argumentation or your ideas, or you can borrow other people's ideas by reading literature and put some ideas in it. Try to make it not less than 300 words. Okay, so this is the first individual project. So I want to make sure that no one will cheat. Yeah, don't copy your friends' writing or paragraphs, and I will very carefully see whether your idea is original or not, and don't ever try you know to take other people's idea on the internet and try to present it to me and make it as your own, because once I know it, I cannot guarantee you can complete this course by the end of this semester. So be generous, be honest, yeah, be confident. uh, I am I really appreciate if you come with your or authentic ideas, your own ideas about anything, but at least you have to follow this course to understand what I'm explaining so far. Okay, I think that's all. We'll see you in the next session. Thank you. Bye bye. Assalamualaikum.